Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I want to share with you another fragrance house, and this might be a company you've heard about before, but the name is Alexandria Fragrances. I'll tell you, every time I hear Alexandria, I think of like The Walking Dead, you know? So, I don't know, it just pops into my mind. Which is just kind of how memories and also your memories, how they tie into scents. So if you are new to fragrance collecting, that's a big part of the journey. You know, if fragrances will sometimes remind you of special moments, I always recommend that if you're going to, if there's something very special in your life, maybe a promotion or maybe a, you know, some kind of dinner party or even wedding, whatever it may be, is to choose your fragrance wisely, because if things don't work out, it's always going to remind you of that particular moment. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? Now, as far as fragrance influencers, there's tons of us on, little remix there, tons of us on YouTube. You know, and I always state that, you know, use YouTube, use websites, blogs, websites like For Granted, take them with a grain of salt, take little bits and pieces and draw a good educated decision on whether you want to try these or not. Now, in my opinion, Alexandria is sort of like a cologne house. It's clone of colognes, right? They make kind of copies or dupes of a lot of different fragrances. Now, not to say they don't have their own proprietary blends or their own creations. I believe they do have several. The ones I'm going to share with you guys today are not those fragrances. So I picked ones that I wanted in my collection that I just wouldn't go out and spend the money on, right? That I have smelled before. Alexandria was nice enough to send me 2 full bottles, and instead of sending me those little samples that you really can't get to know a fragrance with, you know, you really got to wear it and get to know it over time, they sent me 4 of their travel size. So these are absolutely fantastic. You can reuse the sleeve, right? And they're designed to fit this smaller travel size vial or sprayer. You know, I think they could have, honestly, this pack comes with 4, so they come with 4 individual sprayers. Or sheets, we should call them. It could even save money just by including 1 or 2, because you really don't need 4 of these, right? But pretty generous, pretty awesome. A lot of the other companies I've seen where, like for instance, if you're going to sign up for like those monthly fragrance samples, kind of like I think it's Sent By, I forget the name of them, don't quote me on it, but you can sign up for like 30 bucks a month and you're allowed to choose 1 per month. They send you one of these and they send you one of these, but you reuse this portion of it. So pretty cool, pretty generous. They included 4. And of the 4 they sent me, I'm going to read off the fragrance names, of course. Santel's Kiss. This is their version of Santel 33, I think, by Le Labo. And if I misspeak here, just, you know, I'm just kind of doing this nonchalant. Of course, we have Interplay, and some of you might say, is that Interlude? And no, this is actually their take on Baccarat Rouge 540, I think, which is, you know, I think anybody in the community has smelled these fragrances. These are kind of classics. Here we have Upside Down. Now this one I did totally blind pick. This one is a inspiration by Initio's Side Effect. So if you're not familiar with Initio, they make fragrances such as like Oud for Glory. Oud for Greatness, I think. Oud for Greatness. Oud for Greatness, I have Oud for Glory. Very identical scent for a fraction of the cost. Same thing with this. I love Initio. I kind of wish I would have requested a full bottle of this because this one I did blind choose, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, we have, this is Hasivas. And so this is Hasivas. They say Hasivas. I think Hasivas is, let me see which one this is, how is it inspired? Hasivas. Okay, so Hasivas is inspired by Hasivat. So I like the fact they chose the names very similar there. So there's really, for most people, no question on what it's trying to duplicate. And then of course the full bottle's absolutely stunning presentation on this. I don't have the cases anymore. I threw them away. But you know, your standard cardboard box, which is, it's a little bit nicer actually. It's more of the, well, you can look on their website, which, as always, links in the description. This is No Apologies. And then we have Royal Equestrian. So Royal Equestrian is their take on Leighton, a classic. Man, it's awfully close, if not identical, to my nose. And then No Apologies is actually another blind choice. And this one here is inspired by, let's see, No Apologies. This is by, whoops. Not sure why we're not getting it. It might be out of stock. Let's see. There it is, No Apologies. It's inspired by Nasumoto Pardon, another classic. And the reason I chose that is because of some of the things that Cubano said about this particular fragrance. So I'll tell you, of these are all, I think, really amazing scents. I'd say that No Apology, or excuse me, yeah, No Apologies is actually a little bit harder to wear. I think you kind of have to have a little bit of a refined, or this is definitely not like a beginner scent, I'd say. I think most people might smell this and say this is a confident scent, you know. So again, we're not going to get into the whole breakdown. I'm going to review these all individually, but I mean, absolutely fantastic, super generous of Alexandria. And I got to tell you, I mean, this is a house that, oh my God, it's quality juice. Like, you know, a lot of folks will say, a lot of fragrance reviewers will make claims of saying, oh, this is synthetic, this is this is that. You know, to me, I never really get the whole synthetic vibe. The only thing that I can kind of state that sometimes when you have less expensive fragrances or more, I guess, cheaper, affordable fragrances, is sometimes you get that blast of alcohol. With none of these, I don't get any of that. So I believe they're all Eau de Parfum concentration, and the staying power, it's just there. These work well, they're beautiful scents, and they are really identical to the fragrances they are trying to mimic. The Latent clone, I mean, this one here, I'm surprised that this is still available, because there's not a lot of Latent clones that are really good, and there's, what's the other one? Another company, I forget, something Nui, I believe. It's a really affordable fragrance, but really hard to find. The price is kind of creeping up. So if you want Latent, oh, man, you gotta spend the bucks, or you can get something like this. Now remember that companies who make fragrances like this, not everybody is going to, I feel like the people who don't appreciate companies making, I guess, copies of different fragrances are, of course, the ones who want to smell super unique. And they're like, well, they shouldn't copy. You know, I mean, let's face it, fragrances, you know, they don't have to, you can't really copyright a fragrance, you know what I mean? So you could basically make something extremely similar, whereas if you smell them side by side, there are probably very subtle differences if you can smell them each side by side. But remember, on the actual person, it's really pretty irrelevant. You know, as long as you're getting in the ballpark of a fragrance, in my opinion, that's all that really matters. Because when you're wearing a fragrance on skin, right, if you spray it on your skin, some folks wear it on clothes. I do a little bit of both. If you are going to spray it on skin, you know, your body chemistry is going to kind of interact with that fragrance, which is going to change the way it smells. Now, not to the point where it's like, wow, that smells totally different. It's very subtle. You know, folks who claim that, you know, every fragrance smells completely different on other people, I don't buy that at all. You know, I think that maybe if you had a really heavy diet of, like, different cultures have different diets, whether it be with garlic or curry or different types of spices. If you eat a lot of like spices like that, it might come out through your skin a little bit more, right? I think that's pretty common, you know, but I don't think that it's going to change the scent that much where somebody would smell you if they were familiar with it and not say, ooh, are you wearing Latent? Like, it's not going to be that different because everybody's body's a little bit different. The other thing about it too is, remember, you have laundry detergent that you wear. A lot of times, you know, I don't wear my shirt once and then throw it in the laundry. I mean, I can get, you know, I'm not really much of a sweater, so I can get, you know, a couple weeks out of a shirt. You know, if I'm going to wear a shirt for a couple hours and hang it up, it's not dirty in my opinion. So, you know, remember that sometimes you would have worn that shirt with a different fragrance. So fragrances are always going to be a little bit different. And I think, again, if you can get in the same ballpark, like Royal Equestrian compared to Latent, I just don't see the point in spending $300 for a bottle of fragrance when you get something like this for $109. It's a fraction of the cost. The quality is exceptional. The presentation is absolutely beautiful. It's like dark, luxurious bottle, very cool. You know, I don't really care about the cap, although some of you may, so I'll mention it. It is metal, nice sprayer. Again, I don't care about any of these things. These bottles kind of remind me of what you're going to get from, who is it? Fragrance House out of, I believe, out of Washington State, in the Seattle area. It's drawing a blank. They use a lot of the blue bottles too. I can't think of it at the moment. Yeah, but anyway, just absolutely fantastic fragrances. It really allows you to get, you know, it really allows you to get in the ballpark of those really expensive niche fragrances. So as far as, which one is this one here? If you've ever smelled, and again, I don't want to spend too much time on what they smell like. If you ever smelled Hasivat, that to me is very similar to Creed Aventus. It's a very kind of smoky pineapple scent. I have smelled Creed Aventus. I'll never spend the money on something like Creed Aventus. There's just too many other copies of that fragrance. You know, and if you're really concerned with one smelling, you know, Exactly. Just go get 4 of them and layer it. You know what I mean? You're going to get in the ballpark. And honestly, all the ones I smell great. But I tell you, if I was going to spend the money on something like that and buy something of really high quality, I know these were sent to me as part of a collaboration. I didn't pay for them, but if I was going to buy something that was of a quality Creed Aventus type fragrance, I wouldn't even bother. I would just go with this one, the Hasivas. It's absolutely stunning. Now, as far as no apologies, I encourage you, if you are going to pick up this fragrance, to definitely get your nose on Nasamoto Pardon. It's definitely more of I'd say more of a challenging scent. To me, there is a little bit of a sort of like not a gaminess to it, but it's woody. It's just a little different. I absolutely love it. Don't get me wrong. Every time I wear it, I kind of enjoy it more. Just what they say on here just states that it's a masculine elegance and charms what this fragrance will kind of evoke. Dark, woody, and rich yet subtle. It remains a gentleman all throughout its long life. Pure class and ball. Again, these are, I don't really, we want to get to the good stuff here. They call this a seductive scent. And as far as the notes, oud, dark chocolate, sandalwood, tonka, bean, cinnamon, magnolia flower. So to me, it is kind of a chocolatey, woody, oud-like. I'm not saying it leans towards that like skanky oud, but it's got a little bit of a little skankiness to it in my opinion, but not like you might smell in like, it doesn't have that barnyardish kind of note. It's got a real raw oud. I would say definitely one you should smell before getting it if you don't have kind of, I don't want to say refined nose, but more of a nose that appreciates a lot of different fragrances, like brands like Zoologist. Those are challenging scents, and you kind of have to smell those first. There is something about this one that kind of reminds me of something like Zoologist, but not exactly. It just kind of gets you in that same kind of ballpark. I'm not really sure what it is. It might be the oud and the dark chocolate. But it is a very interesting scent, and I encourage you to definitely get your nose on it. Again, this is a fantastic company. They have so many different fragrances. I just don't see the point in spending a lot of money on niche fragrances. If you do, that's okay. Always buy what you like, buy what makes you happy. And I definitely look forward to working with this company again. And I will review these individually at a later date. So thanks for watching. I want to thank Alexandria for sending me these awesome samples. And if you guys do have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to help. There's a lot of us out there in the fragrance community, so a lot of resources. But remember, when you use websites like Fragrantica, take it with a grain of salt. If you see somebody's rated something, 300 to like 20 and positive, like, yep, this smells like this, or this reminds me of this, what's unfortunate about Fragrantica, it's kind of turned into almost like, oh, well, they say this smells just like this. And remember, that's not what that rating's for. It states this reminds me of. So, and sometimes that is very subjective. Just like me saying, oh, this gives me kind of a zoologist vibe. It doesn't smell anything like anything zoologist produces. So, again, use your tools and make the best educated decision. If I can help in any way, I'm here. But as far as the quality of this fragrance, the main point of this video, sharing this brand with you, talking about the quality of juice, it's stellar. It's fantastic, and you won't be disappointed with anything you get. You may not like a specific scent, but as far as the quality, it's there, hands down. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a fantastic weekend, and take care.